All right, we back. A.M.University. I'm your host, Antoine Miller. I got this beautiful guest on today. Goes by the name of Dom Fowler, creator of For the Record podcast, which we'll get into in a second. But Dom has a lot of talents, and one that she just unleashed in the past couple years was being a teacher. Being a teacher. So, and she teaches in Camden, which is really why I have her on the episode at Uncommon, right?
Yes.
Uncommon. So before we get into the episode, hey Dom.
Hey.
How you doing?
I'm doing good.
What's new?
Same stuff.
Same stuff?
Yeah.
Working, podcasting, kids, family.
All of that.
All that good stuff.
Yep. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, I'm happy to have you.
Yeah, I'm a fan of A.M.University.
Oh, thank you. You said you don't even like basketball.
I don't, but...
Remember you told me that one time.
Yep, I don't even like basketball, but I be locked in.
Oh, that makes me feel good.
Yeah.
That makes me feel good.
Yeah.
All right. So let's get into it, because I thought about you, and when I reached out to you, I was like, I really don't ever have educators on the podcast. Like, it's either on the grand scheme of things, it's basketball. Then you tie in kids, which is the most important thing to me. You tie in kids. You sprinkle in just adults that's affiliated with that, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But I've never had an educator on, right? So I felt like you was ideal because you in the field right now. So let's just start with this general question. Since you've been teaching in Camden, how's that been for you?
I love it.
Overall.
I love it. Like the overall, my overall perspective on it is I love it. Is honestly, I've been saying this since I started working in Camden. Like, I actually always want to work with, like, as long as I'm an educator, I always would like to work with kids from Camden or just places like Camden, right? Like the inner cities, just black and brown kids.
You're from Glassboro, right?
I'm from Glassboro.
I mean, y'all got stuff happening. I think, you know how it is. Us being from Camden, you know how it is.
Yeah.
Just like we see any other place. As you grow older, you understand, like, oh no, they really play too out there, but
yeah,
you know how it goes.
Yeah, no, I would say Glassboro is not as rough as Camden, or I don't want to call Camden rough, but you know what I mean. Yeah. What's the word we should use for it? Like,
rough is a politically correct, I think.
Yeah,
I think that's pretty okay.
Yeah, like it's not as I probably didn't have as many challenges as
challenges, educator.
Yeah, as many challenges, But I me myself, like living in Glassboro, I didn't have as many challenges living in Glassboro, but me myself have been through a bunch of adversity, like in my life personally. So I can relate to anything, all the adversity that my scholars go through. And I don't want to generalize and say that they're all going through things just because they're from Camden, because that's not the case. But if they are, and just me being just a black woman, right, who doesn't come from much, like it's not like I wasn't born with a silver spoon at all. So I just can relate, you know what I mean? So yeah, I love it. I love working with black and brown kids. Like, I realized very early on, as soon as I started teaching, I'm like, oh, well, first of all, teaching is a calling. So I want to say that. Like, I always say that, but I really mean that, because like me personally, I've had 2 careers before I ever even became a teacher, but I was always being called to be a teacher. Like, it was always on my heart. I always felt like this is what I wanted to do. And then eventually I got the opportunity to do it. And once I got here, I'm like, oh, okay, I'm meant to be here. You know what I mean? Like, I love education. I'm a huge advocate of education. I love children. And I was called to do this work. And then I realized that, like, not only was I called to do the work of an educator, but I was called to be the representation of themselves to these black and brown kids as their educator.
Teaching is a calling.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't want to say it. Do you believe, in your experience, teachers as a whole believe what you just said? Because I think teaching is, if it isn't number 1, it's top 5 on the most powerful, influential positions that we could have in this country, as far as not even just educating kids, because the families is intertwined with this too. Mm-hmm. Like I think it's a very privileged and important position, but I see a lot of people that just come for the check. I don't know, they just want something to do. Like, I see all these other reasons, but to instead look at it like what you just said as far as purpose driven. Like, so my question to you is, do you think that, and I'm gonna stick to Camden because I'm a Camden person, man. Do you think that teachers understand what they're getting into when they come to the city of Camden? Because I've been to a lot of places. I was in Burlington County at BCIT West Hampton for 7 years, and this ain't that. This ain't that. So do you think teachers understand what they're getting into when they come to the city of Camden to teach specifically? And also, do they understand what they're getting into teaching in general?
Okay, so yes, I think sometimes, right? Like, I don't want to, obviously every situation is different, right? I think there are a lot of people who feel like they want to be a teacher, like they're fresh out of college, right? They're like, this is what my career is going to be. You know, they're young. A lot of people going to college, like coming right out of high school, going to college. You don't know what you want to do. You don't know yourself. You don't know any, like, you know, I doubt they're feeling callings at that age. How many kids that are 18 years old, you know what I mean? Or even 22, really know what they want to do.
Right.
You know what I mean? So a lot of times, like, those people are like, okay, that's the career path that they've chosen. They don't know what they're getting into. They may not be called to the actual work. That's just like the career that they have chosen for themselves, you know? And then I do think also there are people, and I'll say this even about myself, like, there were several reasons why I didn't get into teaching, because I came from the mortgage industry where I was making a lot more money, and I came from media. There were just different reasons why I, like, never decided to be a teacher. But then once I had my own child and I needed to have a job that was more, that fit his schedule better, that was one of my main reasons for becoming a teacher. You know, like, yes, I felt called to be a teacher, but I've been feeling called to be a teacher, and I didn't do it all those years. Then I had a child, and it fit better into my life, you know? So there are, I feel like, a bunch of different reasons why you decide to do anything, you know? And I think that sometimes people may not have actually been called to the work, but they're doing it because they need a job. Like, most people aren't called to their job. You know what I mean? Most people are working to make money.
That's fair.
You know, I don't think teaching is one of those jobs that you should be doing if you're not called to it, though. For sure. Because if I wasn't called to it, I wouldn't be able to do it. It's not easy. It is, like you said, definitely one of the most powerful jobs, but one of the most difficult, like, very difficult, very challenging, very, like, taxing, you know?
Yeah, you said a lot there, because I mean, I guess that's the balance in it, and the devil's advocate. If you have that, all right, I do need a job though.
Yeah. Right. So it's like, you can't be mad at that, and you can't be mad at those people who go to college
I'm mad at it.
Well,
I'm mad at it.
It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate for our youth, you know?
I'm
like,
not saying I'm right to be mad about it, but I'm mad at it.
It is. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. It is. I will say this, though, like, being a teacher the past 3 years, like, I haven't seen many people, even if they weren't necessarily, like, I didn't look at them and think, yeah, they were called to this work. I haven't seen many people abuse the position. I think, like, once you get in that position, from what I've seen thus far, you do it with love. And that's what I've seen. And that's what I could just hope that everyone would do. You know what I mean? Because if you're not teaching with love, that's like, ooh, it's like not a job you could do without your heart. You know what I mean?
Do it every day though, Dom. Like, I don't know what I've seen in my entire experience. Me going to school, me working in schools. The entire, I'm 37. The entire, I don't know, 20-something years of me being in education in total. I've seen people that's miserable with their lives. They come here and they do what they do. They can't wait till Friday or wait till payday, and that's my night. And then I dread Monday, and I'm just doing it over again, and I'm slowly just dying. And these kids is looking at me, and I don't care. Like, as long as I'm doing enough to not get fired, it's cool. And we do that for 25 years.
Ooh, and you think the teaching is what they don't like. You think that that's what's making them miserable, like the actual children and the actual like instruction.
The teachers or the kids?
The teachers that you're saying like you see that are just doing it for as a job. Do you think that do you think they just are only there to make money? Like
I don't think they try to. Again, I'm just talking about the inner city. I don't think they try to see the kids' point of reference or view at all.
Wow.
I don't think they care at all. Wherever they came from, you should do it this way. I don't understand why you're doing it that way. That doesn't make sense to me at all. What is wrong with you?
Yeah.
Why are you doing that?
Yeah.
Do it this way like I told you.
Yeah.
Or there's going to be consequences for it.
Yeah.
What are you, dumb?
Yeah.
Like, I saw that
Wow.
for 20-something years.
Wow. Yeah, you can't teach without understanding. That, you know what I think about? It really baffles me as like a 32-year-old woman, right? I've had like a few black teachers like in my life, not a lot though. But think about like growing up, like I feel like we didn't have like a lot of teachers that could like came from where we came from. You know what I mean? That could understand like what was going on with us. And
Yeah.
you know, and it's just like it's crazy, especially now that I'm like in that role. I'm like, I think about all the little nuanced things that I have to do that I naturally do for my babies because I know what it is. Like if you come into school and your lips a little ashy or your elbows a little ashy, I'm gonna throw you some lotion. You know what I'm saying? Just little things like that. Maybe baby girl smelling like cigarettes because their mom's smoking her out. I know what that's like. My mom used to do that to me. Send me out the house smelling like Newports. You know what I'm saying? And now she walking around and all the teachers looking at her like, ew, she stink. That's not her fault. That's her mom's fault. Let me get this baby a new uniform shirt. You know what I'm saying? Like little things like that. Like this little baby walking around with all this eczema all over her body, but she drinking pineapple soda at lunch.
Now, you took the time to assess those situations.
Right, correct.
Right?
Correct.
I don't see that. I see like this kid is just angry.
Yeah.
Why are you angry in my class? Nah, I'm whatever they call it. I'm writing you up, or I'm calling your superior, or giving you detention. Whatever. Why are you angry? Like not even looking at the kid's lips or whatever's going on or something, like not even assessing the situation. Bang them, go on with my day.
Yeah.
Just go on to the next thing. That's what I've seen.
Yeah.
And that's the frustrating part with me about this whole thing.
Yeah. Nah, you gotta, I think, yeah, that's very frustrating. Like if you're not able, I don't see how anyone can teach without understanding. And without seeing all your students. Like that is like a huge part of teaching is like being able to see each and every one of your students. I don't know. I don't think that you could teach without that. I don't think you're being a real teacher or you're actually like serving a purpose.
Okay. I mean, this kind of coincides with what we're talking about, but I'm gonna ask anyways, what's the disconnect between teachers, parents, and the students? Like, cause again, from what I've seen, oh my God, the disconnect is so far in between. Like, and we kind of touched on the kids, but when the parents come in, it's like everybody's speaking two different languages. And for this question, I'm not even actually putting it on the teacher side. I'm more so talking about the parent side, because me being a dean at KIPP, like these parents come in and say some off the wall things, and they really want you to play hero for their kid that you raised. You raised them. You raised her. And you want me to be CSI. You want me to be the hammer for your kid, be the police, do everything in the school. This is a school. This is not that. Yo, he going home to something. She going home to something. What do you want me to do? And I struggle because I know deep down inside they don't know what to do.
Yeah. That's where I think that's the disconnect. I think that, first of all, I think that cultural barrier also can hinder things, because if you don't have a good partnership with the parent, right, as a teacher, if you're not partnered up with the parent, it's going to be real hard to get that baby what they need, you know? So I think meeting parents where they're at and understanding them on the level that they're at, right? Because I just know personally, like, you know, in life, everybody's not going to be at my level of consciousness. You know what I mean? Like, that's not going to be the case. Like, in general, I like to meet people where they're at. And so being able to converse with someone and, like, just understand them understand me as much as they can or whatever, but me take from them what I'm hearing, right? What I'm gathering. Not exactly what they're saying. Not taking what they're saying for what they're saying, but what I understand of it, right? And being able to create a situation where we can partner up and get the baby what they need, and they can understand, like, what the game plan is. You know what I'm saying? I think it's like, I don't know, that's just, like, super important. Like, I think that knowing what you said, like, I know that they don't understand, right? That's all you need to know, right? It's like, all right, this is their level of consciousness. Like, this is what they're thinking. I don't need to try to change that, right? They're not what I'm working on. I'm working on the baby. You know what I'm saying? So,
I don't totally agree with that. Because I think they wanted the same. I think we educating the parents just as much as we educating the kids. But you got to have a level of empathy and patience in order to do that, which I totally understand if an educator don't. Because it is not your job. Like, now we talking like layers. Like, we going way overboard with what we talking about doing for an entire family right now.
Yeah.
But I truly don't think they understand. Like, these parents is 25.
Well, yeah.
18. Like,
Yeah.
I've been trying to do the math. Like, yo, how old did you have this kid?
Yeah.
Like, they're babies too.
Yeah,
They really don't know.
Yeah.
So at the same time, like, you in there, like, you talk to parents often?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I have young kids, 7, 8 years old, so I need to be talking to your parent a lot, you know? And, like, I think you're right. I do think that I do use opportunities to educate parents when I can, especially being able to talk to them meet them where they're at, right? And talk to them on their level and, like, understand what they're saying and things like that, and just give them, like, what I got for them, you know, as far as, like, the wisdom, the knowledge, the education. I think that's true, but I'm not stressing myself out about not being able to get through to a 30-year-old. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not teaching you. You know?
No. Yeah. No.
I can even try to, you know, maneuver my teaching to my scholars in a way where it's like, okay, sometimes we see this, but let's not do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, in a way where it's like, you know, I don't know. There were things my parents did that it was like, don't be what your parents are type of thing. You know, like, I know that now as a grown person, you know. And I would never say that to a student, you know, but you can teach them the right way to do things. You know, you can, seeing is believing. So you can have them, show them a different way to do things, right? And then they can decide for themselves whether they want to go that route or this route, you know? Because at the end of the day, I'm not educating a 30-year-old person, you know? As I am giving them what I can, but they're not as impressionable as their child.
Bingo.
You know what I'm saying?
Bingo.
Like, they're,
Bingo. These adults is, I say this all the time on this show, like, the adults is washed. I said on your show. Like, adults is adults is washed up.
Yeah.
Like, you can't really change an adult's brain. Like, so why even bother, to your point?
Yeah.
The kids, you still, crazy as these kids are, you still got a realistic chance because of your influence.
Yeah.
Like, they coming and seeing you every day.
Yep.
Them little girls,
Yep.
they probably, oh my God, what they probably matriculating in their brain. Like, look how she looks. Look how she carries herself. Like, she's a teacher. I don't know no teachers. All these type of things. Like, I could do that one day.
Yeah. And I like to keep it very real with them. I'm happy you said that, because I like to really be very transparent with my scholars. You know what I mean? And let them know, like, yeah, my situation was like that too. Like, you know, I was just talking to one of my babies the other day about, she's like, it's just kind of stressful sometimes because, you know, I go with my mom this week and I go with my dad that week, and, you know, my parents aren't together, and, like, you know, going back and forth kind of can get stressful. And I'm like, you know, I did that too. Like, you know, Miss Fowler did that. I did that all my life, you know, went with both my mom and my dad. Like, you're actually very fortunate to have both your parents and to be able to do that, you know. But it's like, I want to let them know, like, you are me, I am you. You know what I mean? Anything I could do, you could do too, you know? And just, like, the transparency of it, you know? Don't look at me like I'm this, like, thing that you can't become, because that's another thing. That's another beautiful thing about representation, right? Is that you see me, I look just like you. You could do exactly what I've done.
Right.
You know?
Right. And then these type of establishments, establishments that's so important for these kids to see us just men, women, like you're not just seeing another race in a white suit and just, getting intimidated. I see that a lot with parents.
Oh, yes.
They'll come in and see somebody in a suit and they just get intimidated like right away.
Yep.
But let it be somebody that they deem as a peer or they ready to fight them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just such a wild, mentality in the time and like the way people think. Like, this is hard.
Yeah.
This is hard.
It's very challenging. It is. And it's just taxing. And it's like, it makes you really like philosophical. Because like you're thinking like, how can we change this? You know what I mean? Like, how do we, like, it's scary, especially with me working with such young babies, because it's like, ooh, I do not want that generation to repeat other generations. You know what I mean? Like, they gotta shift. They gotta change. Like, they cannot be doing these things like when they get older.
I had a kid, 16, that he got shot 2 Sundays ago in his neck.
Ooh.
And it was crazy stories swirling around, and like I got the text and the call from like a lot of people, and I didn't respond to anything because I didn't really know how to take it in, and not just because I was sad, I was actually angry at the same time, like at him. Mm-hmm. Right? Because I knew he was a really good kid, but he made some decisions in his life, and this was another one, and it was like I didn't really know how to internalize it. And like, you're right, the influence that we have is so powerful, and then you get attached to these kids, and you get attached to these situations, and it's just like, I don't know, like we in a really, like I said, powerful position. Mm-hmm. Like when I did have my moment and I broke down about him, mm-hmm. like I just kept telling myself, well, I gotta go back to work. Mm-hmm. Like, and I got 100 other kids that's right there that need me just as much as him, mm-hmm. or whatever like that. It's like, it's no, like, what do you do next? Like you just, like, that classroom that's your domain, right? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Like, yeah, I might not save this one, right? I might not, but I got all these other kids that's still looking for me, and that's the solution.
Yeah.
As hard as it is going through these type of things, it's just like, and you the same way. I see you from afar and what you're doing and things like that, and it's just like, we gotta work. Like, we don't have time. It ain't like it was when I was. Well, you a little younger than me, but you kind of in my generation. It ain't like it was when we was younger, mm-hmm. like with the clubs and even like going to bars and stuff on a Friday, happy hour or something like that. Like, it's not the same, and I don't really want it to be the same because we don't have time. We don't have time for none of this shit. I listen to all the topics that you have on your show and things like that, and the wild things people be saying and stuff. We don't have the time.
No, we don't. I feel the urgency. Like, I feel it. I talk about it in therapy all the time. Like, she's like, why do you feel such urgency? I'm like, so much has to get done. Like, so much has to get done. So much
he
has
said
to
it like it was, or he said it like it was a bad thing?
She said, yeah, she's like, why do you feel such a sense of urgency, like, in life? Like, because it produces anxiety in me. And, as my therapist, she's trying to make me, you know what I mean, not have such anxiety, you know? So she's like, where's the feeling of urgency coming from? And I'm just like, all the things that need to get done. You know what I mean? Like, all the things that need to be changed, need to be fixed, need to be taken care of. Like you said, like, there's so much work to do, right? That's another, like, that goes back to what we were, like, saying about it being a purpose, because you have to be purpose-driven, because when you're purpose-driven in, like, education, you will give them everything you got. You know what I mean? Like, everything you have until they're out of your care, right?
I was talking about somebody about this today. Like, not necessarily people around you, but people that you know and you see in passing and things like that. How they look to you? Like, I see so many people that look like death. Like, I mean, like, they look like they are slowly, and we all dying, but they look dead to the world, and it's like, it feels like a really progressive cycle of this happening right now. Like, again, not when we was in our 20s, not when we was teenagers. Like, it's a different time where people are just so mad and so, like, sick and so sad. It's just like, I don't know what's happening. Like, what is happening to the world that people just... But again, I'm saying that to put in context, and going back to what you said as far as a sense of urgency. I don't have time to, like, sit at somebody's house and smoke weed. I don't have time to go on a trip for 3 days because it's your birthday. Like, bro, that's blessings, bro. But that's a day. This is just a day. Like, we can do something small, we talk whatever like that, but just fly out just to take pictures on Instagram. What you want to do? Say it's my birthday, then you go back to the miserable life with your 3 jobs that you don't already like. To me, that don't. I'd rather work,
right,
or be with my family,
right.
I don't know what's happening, dog.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on.
No, it's crazy because I've been saying this to the people in my life for so long. Like, I've been going through like such an isolation phase and things like that because no one's understanding it. But I'm like,
talk about that too.
Yeah, because I'm like, I actually don't want to go out. Like, I don't want to go to dinner with my girlfriends. I don't want to go to dinner and, like, I don't want to go do things. I don't. And I know, and my therapist also says this to me. She's like, well, you can't not live life while you're trying to create the life you want. And I'm like, I don't want to, though. Like, when I'm there, when I'm doing these, like, you know, leisurely things, I'm like, oh, well, I could be doing that to get me here. And I could be doing, you know, it's like, I feel empty. It feels empty.
Exactly.
You know, like.
Exactly.
Yeah,
All I'm thinking about is the work.
Yup.
All I'm thinking about is the work.
Yup. Like, I can't feel this. Like, it's not, you know, I remember I was in Mexico. This was like a year or two ago. And I was like standing on a balcony, beautiful. Everything was beautiful. And I'm like, I hate this. I want to go home. I was like, I want to go home. I can't. I don't want a margarita. I don't want to go in the ocean. I want to go home and go to work. Like, I am going home to not be exactly where I want to be. Why am I here? And that was the last time I've been out the country. I was like,
Man, look, we could talk all day. For the Record Podcast.
Yes, For the Record Podcast. Yes.
I had the pleasure of being on, and I've seen it blossom. I've seen you get more comfortable after your hiatus with starting a podcast.
Yes.
And now you consistent and you doing it. You got so many guests on. You transparent. I guess doing well. Let's talk about For the Record Podcast.
Yeah, For the Record is my baby. We're on episode 28. And yeah, we started in February. And yeah, I was on another podcast and stopped doing that. It didn't feel as purposeful. Going back to the purpose, right?
There you go.
It didn't feel as purpose driven for me. There were a lot of reasons why I stopped doing that other podcast, but the biggest reason is that I just didn't feel the purpose in it. And so I started For the Record to talk about things that we wanted to talk about. Me and my guests wanted to talk about For the Record. Like, we come there to say things that we want to put on record, right? And it's about my journey with therapy, and just, it's very vulnerable, very authentic, just very therapeutic, and just raw.
Her guess is crazy, yo.
Yeah.
Her guess is crazy. I don't know these people. I don't know they Glassboro people or what. I don't know where she getting these people from, but they crazy, yo.
Somebody asked me the other day, they're like, where do you get your guests from? I'm like, they're just people they're just people I know from places.
I ain't crazy, though. These people crazy.
It definitely
in a good way, though. It's very good content and it's great conversation. I want to say that.
Yeah, it gets like whatever, because it is so raw, though.
Yeah.
Like, I realized once I started doing it, that my gift is that people do feel like they can come sit down and be comfortable saying the honest, raw, whatever.
That is definitely a skill.
Yeah. No, and it's
that people don't appreciate.
No, for sure. I realized it once I got like into it, and I had people come on that I never thought would reveal certain things, and they got on there saying everything. I'm like, oh, I love this. Like, I love that I can make you feel comfortable enough to do that, because we should all do that. What are we lying for? What are we hiding from? You know what I mean? Like,
the truth is scary, dog.
It is for a lot of people.
The truth is scary. That's looking at yourself in the mirror is like,
it's hard.
Death. Like, again, that's why we drink.
Yep.
That's why we go out on Friday nights. That's why we try to have sex with a million people or whatever your vices is, because I don't want to face that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So again, kudos to you for having an outlet that people feel like, and you on camera too. When I first started this podcast, people was like, I gotta get on camera. They be like, well, what if I don't know how to? I was like, bro, relax, bro. This is me. Like, you ain't even gonna feel it after a while. But seeing that, like seeing people sit right there and just be so like nervous, whatever, like that. Like, damn, bro, like you this person and that person, you nervous? It's a cell phone. It's not even like, it's not a camera crew. Like, calm down.
Yeah.
That's where people are though.
Yeah. No, it's hard for people to look at themselves. And it's crazy because it's like, you know, when you go through something and then in retrospect, you're like, oh, that's why I went through that. Like, my first podcast, I dealt with all of that. Like, not being able to watch myself. Like, not being able to even listen to my voice. Like, you know, and just like not being happy with what I was portraying, which was me. It just was, I didn't like myself at the time. And I didn't even know until I started to watch myself back. And that's why, like, in that hiatus, I did therapy. I, like, got real self-aware. And now, like, it's crazy because I don't watch my full podcast back. I won't lie and say I do that. Just because I'm there.
I hear that so many times. I actually don't either.
Really? Yeah, it's like you.
Yeah, what am I talking about? I don't watch it back either.
You know what? Because we don't have the time. Like, I was there. What do I need to do that for?
And you edited and recorded. Like, you was.
I was there. But when I watch the clips, I'm like, oh, I like this girl. Like, talking about myself.
Oh, yeah, wait, no, I'm tripping. Like, I don't, but sometimes I do want to critique myself. Because, again, I see you get, like, I see little nuances of you getting better, like, and better and better at something that probably an average Joe won't see. Like, she didn't do that before. Yeah. Like, that was cool or whatever like that. And just me as a basketball coach is like, it's the same thing. Like, all right, what small things can I get better at? So I watch it for that. Yeah. Unless it's a really funny one, and I just want to crack up. Yeah. Watch it again. No. But I'm like you for the most part. Yeah.
No, that makes sense though. That makes sense. Like, I definitely watch all the clips because it helps me with that, you know. And it's just like there's a good amount of podcasts in those clips. So it definitely helps me, and I definitely critique myself. I'm like, oh, I shouldn't have said it like that. Like, whatever. Sometimes my clips.
Well, you'll notice it.
Yeah.
You're the only one that noticed it.
Yep. No, for sure. I remember talking to you about it when you came. I'm like, oh, when I watch back, I hate that I do this little giggle thing. And, like, it is crazy because, like, I catch myself in a moment. And my producer, shout out to my producer, Ryan, because he'll tell me too. Right. Yeah, like, that's my guy. Like, that's my guy for sure. But, like, he will be like, yeah, Dom, can you stop answering? But, like, that's crazy.
Oh, right now, damn fact, Ryan crazy too. When I was at the podcast, Ryan he just so blunt. I'm like, I didn't know how long y'all knew each other or what. Like, I was like, damn, Ryan.
No, we talk about it on the podcast all the time, how he calls me fat. Like, he'll like, we have clips like with him saying, like, us having these conversations. That's my homeboy. Like, that's my good.
Yeah, I like Ryan.
Yeah, that's my good guy friend.
I like Ryan.
Yeah.
But I really enjoy your podcast. It's funny. When I started mine 3 years ago, like, at first I was thinking about kind of something. Like, when did Kevin Samuels start?
I don't know.
I wanted to do something like that, I swear. Yeah. I wanted to do something like that because you can't lose. Yeah. Talking about relationships. Everybody go through it. Yeah. Whatever, in that type of realm. Not saying that yours is like that, but it's more so in that lane where the masses can relate to what Dom's topic is. Yeah. You know, so I think because of that and because of who you are, that it's a success. I'm proud of you because I know how you were prior to that, going through the other podcasts and things like that. You was really apprehensive about doing that, but ain't putting yourself out there so liberating?
Yeah, right? It is. Right? And doing it by yourself is very liberating.
Yeah.
It's hard, but it's actually very liberating.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. Yeah, I had to go through that too. Like, you know, and it's life, man. All these experiences is important. You learn from them. I hope people learn from them, and we just keep working.
Yeah, that's all.
And just keep moving.
Yep. That's all.
So, let's end with this. Tell everybody how to get to your podcast and your Instagram handles and all that, so that everybody can view it and.
Yes, of course. All right, so my Instagram is dom.fowler. And you can find my podcast on my Instagram, of course, For the Record Pod with Dom Fowler, on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, everywhere you find podcasts.